Hello friends, Jeff here from Squadron. Welcome back to another segment of the build of the F-14A Tomcat. So let's get started. Well, the good thing is with Vallejo and acrylic, if you have some overspray, it's easy to clean off and you can use it again and it's good as new. In the previous chapter we airbrushed everything that as far as cockpit wise and the front fuselage, so we have to let that dry. Meanwhile, we can work on the middle of the fuselage, on the back part. As you can see here, we have the big pieces. So we're going to try, in this chapter, we're going to cover this. So first, let's start cutting the big piece out, cleaning it up, and prepare it for all the little tiny pieces to be glued on. Here we go. So again, the same procedure. We just gonna barely, being very careful of staying away from the edges so we don't ruin anything. Get most of the attachment pins off. And cleaning this up is a breeze. Also, it's important that once you deal with delicate plastic or a delicate kit like this and you have to get in delicate places, it's always good to have a brand new scalpel or a brand new X-Acto knife. Makes it a little bit easier on yourself. If you missed one of the previous chapters and you're just checking in now, I only use, for these purposes, to cleaning up the surface or at least the ejection marks or pins, I use a medium sanding stick and a fine. So I would stay away from the coarse for this purpose and only use medium and fine. And then of course the abrasive pad, just to get away of the fiber, so you won't have any little fibers or flash attached to it, which always backfires when you airbrush. Nothing is worse when you forgot a spot and there's a little fiber hanging loose and you airbrush and then you have to clean that up, and never a pleasant feeling. Always double and triple check that you didn't forget anything. Make sure that everything is clean and smooth, and then you're good to go. Especially with this piece, Tamiya put a lot of screws in between just to brace everything so nothing would warp. So you have to cut those off, like as you could see in the beginning when I removed those, and you have a lot of attachment points which have to be cleaned up. Most of them are in spots that are not going to be visible, but a few are going to be visible, so you have to make sure that you clean them up. It's very important in this area that you really do a good job here and keep everything nice and clean edges, because this is where the fuselage is going to be mounted and you don't want any complications there. But so far everything looks nice and clean, so I can move on to the smaller parts. I'm preparing the components of the intake. These are also very well engineered and true to the thickness is true to scale. I don't see any problems there. As you can see, it looks absolutely intricate. Very well done. Now we do the other side. Okay, just now we're preparing the left side. If by mistake you applied a little bit of glue on the wrong side, it's never a pleasant feeling that you did that, but with the super weld, it's not such a big deal. The super weld doesn't really eat into the plastic all that much. Don't panic, just let it dry out, rub it up with a pad and you're good to go. Even if you have to break it apart, just let it dry out. I applied glue on here and I don't even see it anymore. We're gonna attach some pieces to the big part here. Now there is a left and a right side on this. I don't think you can make a mistake, but just double check that you use the right parts for the right side. Apply some glue. Again, don't overdo it. You do not want to add too much glue on there, so it will, once you press the two parts together, that in this seam here, that glue or melted plastic will squirt out. Just apply a little bit in the middle, do the trick. You can also, on the back side here, you can just do a little bead on this side, like right here. It will take care of it. I'll do the same on this side. I'm just gluing it in the middle. Doesn't have to be a lot, just enough. And then just lay it in there, press it against it, and there you go. Now we're gonna add the bottom tail fins on there. Again, make sure you get the right ones. There's a left and a right. I don't know if you can see that, but look at that. You don't even have to put any glue on there, as a matter of speech. It's just a nice little tight fit in here. Amazing. For a couple small parts to finish it off. Again, this part is very crucial to make sure that you don't cut into the edges here. It's very important that you keep them crisp. Again, as in the other sections, don't apply too much glue. That's where the super weld really shines. Nice. We get all this covered, so now we're going to see what the next step is, which is also part of the main wheel well assembly. So I'm going to put these parts together and then prepare everything, and then we can mate the bottom and the top. We just have a little bit of work here, so okay. As I mentioned in previous chapters, this is the good thing about Tamiya. There is not a lot of cleanup. At least excessive cleanup. You just have to cut the attachment tabs off. Just brush it with a sanding stick, wipe it off, and good to go. There's no other flash, it's all crisp, sharp. Okay, this is the right side. Now we're gonna do the same for the left. Alright, let's try to mate this up here. Try to glue this in place first, so at least we have some sort of a guidance to mate everything up. Okay, let's secure that with a little bit more glue on this side. There you go, and there you go, it falls right into place. Best thing is to secure it on the outside since you have access to the back. Just drop some glue in between the slots here. There you have it. Again, no gaps, no slots. I mean, it's just a tight fit all around. Now let's do the other side. Same way. Okay, try to mate that in. Okay, there we go. The overall fit is just too easy. I mean, it's almost a crime that everything fits so perfectly. And that's what's also something I mentioned in the previous chapter, is that a kit like this that is so well engineered, it's just fun to build. There is practically no cleanup necessary. Everything fit to perfection. And plus it speeds up the build. I know that some guys enjoy building. Myself, I'm more into the end result, and that is the painting and weathering, but even for me, this is just fantastic to, I mean, it's just a great feeling that you clean a part, you glue it, and you don't have to use putty or super glue. Everything is so perfectly aligned. Let's try to put the big pieces together. Back to this piece here. Here we might have a little bit of a challenge here. Maybe, I'm sure I'm doing something wrong, but the best thing is to apply some glue on the inside, like here along the lines, because you don't want to move it too much. You have to attach the piece under an angle, and so does it made up with these little blocks here, and it's the way to do it. So first I thought that these pieces had to, if you can see these seams here, I thought they had to made up with this part, but no, actually this is the correct way. It's a little sunken in. All we need to do now is apply some glue and hold it in place for a little bit. Great, looks great. It's especially important that you take good care of this piece, because this is really absolutely visible. You have to make sure that you don't have any glue spills or whatsoever, or anything where the glue gets too much and it starts to get a little sinkhole. Take your time to do this. Make sure you give it ample time to dry. You don't want any complications in this area. So now we're gonna mate the two together. And I already see that I forgot to clean up one of the ejection stubs. There's always one. Now I can see that during this process to put the upper to the bottom fuselage, you will have a long, like a glue line here and here. I'm gonna get some masking tape ready, so whenever I start gluing, I'm gonna put the masking tape immediately in place, that I don't have any surprises afterwards. So it's always good to be prepared and have a couple of strips of masking tape ready so that you can immediately apply whenever you glue that particular piece. That should be enough. Now there are two ways to glue this. You can tack it with super glue on certain points and then put it on there, and then finally you go around it and apply glue in between the cracks, or you just put the two on top of each other and align everything and then just apply glue as you go. It's just amazing how everything, I don't know if you can see it from here, but everything mates up to perfection. I'm sure whoever guys out there who built the Asagawa one or the Monogram one or even the Hobby Boss one, this is very critical in the build, and in this case you shouldn't be afraid. Just like I do, apply the glue here in the middle. Let the glue do its work. Must be very careful. Okay. Hold it a little. And then very gently make sure that it's dry enough that the glue doesn't squirt out. So and then you just gently apply the tape. Later on, when everything is dry, we'll see what the end result is. You can only tell that when I remove the tape, but we might have to do a little tiny bead of super glue here. That can be used as a filler or as putty, and then we can sand it. We'll have an absolutely very smooth seam. That's what I meant when I was talking about that whenever you have to clean the stubs off of the injection tabs or the attachment points to the sprue, that you always be very, very careful that you don't cut into the plastic, because it's on areas like here that if you by accident you cut a little bit of the edge off of the crisp edge, then you run into a problem. Again, make sure whenever you remove the big areas or at least crisp lines or edges from the sprue, make sure that whenever you cut that you take your time for it. There's no need to rush this. We can do it a little bit here. I don't even can see where the line is. That's how tight fit it is. I don't even distinguish the panel lines and where the edges are to be glued. As you can see here, my glue is almost gone, so what I usually do is you're very careful, put it on its side. That's why it's easier to access glue, but again, be very careful. But I need to get myself a new bottle of glue. If you have access like this here, you can also glue it from the back. Maybe that's a little safer. Don't apply too much pressure, just squeeze it together tightly, just barely squeeze it together, that's what I meant. And then apply the tape. Don't put any pressure in it, you don't want any glue to squirt out. And then the final piece here. Again, if you can't get it glued the first time, don't worry about it, just put some tape around it, wait until it's dry, and then take the tape off, and then you can easily go around the bead again. Okay guys, that was it for now. Visit us soon on our website at Squadron TV for the next chapter in the build. You can also like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or subscribe to YouTube or Squadron TV itself. That way you'll get notifications when a new chapter is put up. So that was it for now. Jeff E here, signing off.